Andrea Donsky, founder of Morphus, powered by Naturally Savvy. And today we are going to be talking about all things cleaning. I'm very excited to have the CEO of Nature Clean, Bernie Ross, on our show today because there are a lot of questions that we all have regarding being home, cleaning our laundry, cleaning our hands. So welcome to our show, Bernie.
Thanks, Andrea. It's great to be here. Thank you.
All right, so I know that many of us have questions. Let's start with our hands and explain what are the proper ways to wash our hands? What should we be using?
Well, as a lot of people have been hearing in the media, hand soap is probably the number one thing we can be using to fight the coronavirus. And I think it's important to understand why. The virus is actually a protein, and that protein is covered in a layer of fat. And so hand soap breaks down that fat. And it actually does a better job of it than bleach. So again, hand soap is the number one thing we can be doing to keep our families safe, keep ourselves safe, keep our homes safe.
Now, I know one of the questions that people might have is, okay, so what type of hand soap should we be using? Natural hand soap, antibacterial hand soap, what is the right answer?
Well, let me talk about antibacterial hand soap for a second. They were banned in Canada and North America for quite a long time because the chemistry used to make an antibacterial hand soap is actually quite harmful to our health. But more to the point, the antibacterial agent doesn't actually have time to work in a hand soap environment. By the time you've rinsed it down the drain, that's when it starts to actually work. So you're not really gaining anything by buying an antibacterial hand soap. Regular hand soap is more than enough horsepower to break down this virus.
Now, I know that you have hand soap. I have them on me because I use them here. So we've got, this is the foaming, and then we've also got the liquid. Now, is there a difference between the two? Like, is there one that we should be using over the other that works better, perhaps?
There's certainly a difference between foaming and regular hand soap, and really foaming hand soap only works if you have the activator, the correct nozzle to pump the foam. But they will both be just as efficacious in terms of dealing with this virus. And again, it gets back to the breaking down the fat that surrounds the protein, and they will both do a great job at that.
That's good to know. And is there a certain way that we should be washing our hands? I know, like, I've heard that we should count the alphabet, count to 20, make sure that we wash everywhere.
Sing the happy birthday song, all of those things. And I think what they're trying to get across is, look, just spend more time doing it than you normally would. Use hotter water than you normally would, and which of course is harder on our hands as well. So that takes us into the after step, which is really moisturizing after you wash your hands. And I think we're all experiencing that right now, where your hands are a lot drier than they normally would be.
Oh my gosh, I wash my hands like probably 20 times a day, if not more, like constant. I touch something, all right, let's wash our hands. So, and I like that you're saying to use the moisturizer. I will say this, and I'm not saying this just because we're partnered, like you're a partner of Naturally Savvy and Morphus. I find that my hands aren't so crazy dry using your hand soap. I will say that, compared to, let's say, some of the other hand soaps that I've used.
For sure. I mean, our business has always been founded around sensitivities and allergies and skin. And so a lot of our formulas are designed to be gentler on skin and for people that have sensitive skin.
Well, it definitely, I can attest for that it really, my hands are not crazy dry. And I mean, I'm still using moisturizer, but they're not cracking or anything. And I know you were saying something about cracked hands and the virus.
Yeah, so one of the other reasons we want to use moisturizer, other than just to take care of our skin, is that cracks in the skin are actually a really good place for the virus to hide and to breed. So moisturizing after you've washed your hands prevents that.
Now, what about sanitizer, versus using soap? What would the difference? Is one better than the other? Use both together?
I think the sanitizer is sort of a plan B. First and foremost, you want to be washing your hands, when you come in contact with different surfaces, when you're touching doorknobs, when you're, going about your daily routine. Hand sanitizer is there for when you can't wash your hands, when you don't have access to water. And there's a lot of sanitizers on the market that aren't that effective. you have to be making sure the sanitizer you're buying is 60% plus alcohol, because that's what's required to break down the protein of the virus.
60% alcohol. Okay. Let's move on to laundry, because this is something I was telling my husband the other day, that I literally feel that all I do all day long, other than wash my hands, is do laundry. And I'm like, how are we using so much, why are clothes dirty when we're literally not leaving our house? So I want to understand what it when we're washing our clothes, are we using cold water, which is what I normally use? Should we be using hot water? How much of the liquid, if we're looking at your liquid laundry, is this going to work? Do we need to add in vinegar? Talk a little bit about in terms of doing laundry.
Sure. Well, again, to protect yourself against the coronavirus, you really want to use the hottest water you can, but not at the risk of wrecking your fabrics and your clothing. So if you're checking the manufacturer's recommendations on the label, and if you can use hot water, you're going to use hot water to correct this problem we have with the virus. And certainly washing our clothing, if you're going outside your home, we all know that the virus can live on fabric for, I think it's something like up to 24 hours. So as a precaution, it's just a really good idea to come in and whatever clothes you are wearing outside, to make sure that they go into the laundry.
Yeah, that's what I would tell my kids. And my husband's still working. He's considered an essential service. So I'm like, okay, take off your clothes at the door. Here's your comfy clothes. And he laughs at me, but I'm like, no. I feel better anyways knowing that. So I'm happy that you're confirming that.
Absolutely. We had to take my wife to emergency recently. She had a bad rash on her leg, and the hospitals right now, obviously, if you're not sick, it's not the place that you want to go. And we came back from the hospital, and we go straight to the washing machine. You stand in front of the washing machine, you put your clothes right in, and those are just really good precautions that all of us should be taking.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, I want to move on to produce, because my husband he runs a company called Mr. Produce, and he brings home, obviously he's giving people produce, and he's bringing home produce. You have a fruit and veggie wash, which I recently talked about on breakfast television, and I do think I've been using it for many, many years anyhow, but I think it's important that we understand how to wash our fruits and vegetables, our produce, when we get home, and why does fruit and veggie wash work so well, and why should we be using it?
Well, I think again, if you take it in the context of the coronavirus and what we're dealing with now, I think now more than ever we need to be washing our produce. If somebody is touching tomatoes or apples in a grocery store environment, and we're bringing them home to our family, we should be washing them, absolutely. And our fruit and veggie wash is one of the few washes out there that's been certified to remove different types of bacteria. We've even tested it on things like diesel exhaust from trucks, because of course that going down the highway, the produce gets covered in diesel exhaust. So we've gone to great lengths to make sure that this is proven and certified to do what we say it does. And I think it's just that added step you can take for yourself and your family.
And I think that's a good point. First of all, I didn't know that you tested against diesel exhaust. Wow. And also, it obviously helps with pesticides and dirt and the soil and everything else, and the fingerprints and everything that people are, that people are touching all the produce all the time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, which I think.
God forbid somebody sneezes in the produce aisle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's a good idea. It's a good idea to wash your produce.
Yes, it is. That's why my husband pivoted their business. They're a wholesale produce distributor that distributes to restaurants, but because most of the restaurants are closed, they're now just delivering direct to home. So they save people from having to actually go to the grocery store where people are touching it. But to your point is, we still need to be washing our produce regardless if it's coming direct to home or we're in a grocery store, because of all the other reasons. It grows in the soil, right?
Yeah, no question. And people will often say to me, I buy organic produce, so I don't really need to wash it. But if you think about organic produce, it's growing in things like bone meal. It sits in the field, and you can have animal feces. It still goes down transportation, like every other type of produce. And so my cat's here, so that's what.
I love love it. That's awesome.
Sorry about that.
What's his name or her name?
This is Voodoo
Oh
and
my God, I love
Magic. So anyway, sorry about that.
That's great.
But working from home, what a joy. So,
Awesome.
but anyway, so organic produce as well needs to be washed.
So wait, I have a question. You said about bone meal. I didn't even know that organic produce is grown in bone meal. What is that for?
It's a fertilizer, and so they will animal bones ground up, and it's a fertilizer. So you never know what sort of contaminants produce comes in contact with. It's just a good idea to wash.
Interesting. Well, thank you. I learned something very interesting. Now we're home. Many of us are home. We're looking at places in our house that we never really looked at before or noticed before. There are so many areas where we're like, wait, that's filthy. I need to clean that. Do you have any good tips for us while we're home to be like, okay, let's start working on this or clean this or anything, any type of cleaning hacks that you could share?
For sure. If if you run out of hand soap, because obviously hand soap is tough to come by in the grocery stores right now, you can substitute with our dishwashing liquid, and it will do equally as good a job in terms of fighting the coronavirus and breaking down that fat around the protein. There's so many different things. Products, we tend to use a product because that's what it says on the label, but there's so many different uses. And I had my niece email me yesterday, and she's trying to clean the algae on the back of her deck. And if you take our liquid bleach or our powder bleach and you mix it in some water with a scrub brush, it's going to raise all that algae off the back deck, and you can have a beautiful clean deck for the summer.
That's a great tip. I just bought your liquid bleach. Can you explain what that's for?
So the liquid bleach predominantly gets used in laundry, and it's a natural peroxide-based bleach that is safe for fabrics, safe for colors, and unlike chlorine, it won't wear down the fabric quickly. So it's a really great product for stain removal and for whitening and brightening colors and whites. But you can also take that same product and use it as a disinfectant. Now it is peroxide, so it's it's quite you'll notice on your skin that you're using it. Your skin can go a little bit white and tingle. So we recommend using it with gloves if you're using it to disinfect surfaces.
And if I wanted to get my whites white, I just soak them in there, because I do find it don't always get so white, my laundry, in terms of my whites.
Right.
So we can use that to brighten them?
You can, and instructions on the label will tell you how much to add to a load of laundry. You can certainly do a pre-wash if you want to do soaking for anything that might need that. But generally speaking, people will just put a cupful into a load of laundry.
That's a really good tip. And can you use it to clean the floors? Obviously not hardwood, but can you use it to clean, let's say, any other type of floor, laminate or whatever you have?
For sure. Generally anything that water can come in contact with, you could use our peroxide bleach. So as long as water wouldn't damage the surface, then the peroxide will be fine.
Okay. I'm glad that I bought it.
My cat is back, so I apologize for that.
He wants to be part of the conversation. I don't blame him.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
That actually leads me, which, I'm not sure that any of your products would make sense for this. Well, maybe, but can we use any of this to clean pets? People who have pets, can you use any of your products?
100%. You can use our liquid bleach. The peroxide bleach is really good. Obviously we get a lot of fur balls from time to time on fabric, and it can do a really great job for that. It will remove coffee stains. It will remove blood stains. It will remove tea. So many different things, but it also has a deodorizing component. So for pets, if you're working on litter boxes, that type of thing, it's great. Wonderful.
What about if you're walking your pet, your dog, and he's going to come back in the house, right? You've been outside. Can you keep a little bowl or something where you can put their paws in? Like, is there a good tip to?
Yeah, I wouldn't use the peroxide for that. It's a little too aggressive on the skin for their paws. But that's a great question, and I hadn't thought about that. So let me give that some thought, and I'll see if we have a product that might work for that.
Perfect. We'll link to that in the comments below, and that way we can give everybody a good hack, because I know that was one of the questions I had. So, all right. Is there anything that we didn't talk about today that you feel would be valuable to share with our audience?
I really just think that people need to understand that it is all about hand soap right now. It is all about washing our hands, and why that is better than even using hand sanitizer, and why that's better than trying to use bleach. It's hand soap is the most effective thing for fighting this virus.
And where can people find out more about Nature Clean, and where can they follow you on social media?
You can certainly, all the best information is on our website, which is natureclean.ca, and then of course, our Instagram account and our Facebook account are good places as well.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you for being on our show today. I really appreciate having you.
Thanks, Andrea. It's great to be here. Always enjoy it.
Me too. If you got value out of today's video, please share it. We want to help everyone learn how to wash their hands properly, wash their fruits and vegetables, and everything else that we talked about. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. Please give us a like, and please turn on that notification bell, because you will be notified every single time we put out a new Martha's video. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.